To order this regular business meeting of the Council Bluffs Community School District Board of Directors. Mr. Wilson, please call the roll.
Mr. Tripp?
Present.
Mr. Peters?
Present.
Ms. Myers?
Present.
Ms. Shudek?
Here.
Mr. Arthur?
Here.
Mr. Kazire?
Present.
Mr. LaFurla?
Present. Now, if you will, please join me in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Next up is approval of our agenda. Is there a motion?
I move approval of our agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And the agenda has been approved. Next is approval of our minutes from the workshop meeting of October 11, 2022. Is there a motion?
I can move to approve the minutes of the work session and the workshop meetings of October 11, 2022 as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the minutes have been approved. And now is public participation. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board. Did we have any members of the public request time tonight? Okay, so we'll move right on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Murillo.
Thank you, Mr. LaFurla. At this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Ostrowski to join me at the podium. Tonight, we're celebrating two more of our outstanding staff members. So, Ms. Ostrowski, the floor is yours.
Wonderful, and thank you, Dr. Murillo. We're starting again this year our monthly recognition of our outstanding staff members, as Dr. Murillo said. This month, evening, we are celebrating our September Employees of the Month here, now that we've completed September or well into October. So let me introduce you first, if I could please, to Sarah Reed from Carter Lake Elementary School. She's our student and family advocate. Sarah, would you come forward? We always like to share a little bit about what their nominators said about them, and we are grateful that the Council Bluffs Schools Foundation is our sponsor of our recognition for students and staff, and they provide the funding for a trophy and a gift card to a local restaurant, which I hope you enjoy. So thank you, Mr. LaFurla and the foundation. Sarah is a positive spirit in the building. She is always there to help when needed and does it with a positive attitude. She works very hard to build connections with students, parents, and staff, supporting them with whatever they need. If she doesn't have the resources someone needs, she will find it no matter what. She is great at finding solutions in difficult situations as well. She helps the building have a warm and positive vibe for anyone who comes to Carter Lake. And when she enters rooms, everyone is excited to see her and give her hugs. Is that right? Get a lot of hugs. Okay, congratulations, Sarah. All right, our licensed staff member of the month for September is Michaela Galaska from Roosevelt. Michaela, come forward. Let me share a little bit about what your nominators told us. Michaela is a Roosevelt Elementary English Language Arts instructional coach. She has thrown herself into her new role with heart and enthusiasm. She has sought out ways to streamline testing and to build rapport with staff and students. You can find her assisting students in need at any given moment. She supports teachers by giving us time to organize small groups, answer any small question we had, even if she has to go find the answer from somewhere else. And she provides materials, even steps up to co-teach lessons in classrooms, which is super helpful. She has demonstrated how she can be an advocate for high expectations and student success. Congratulations to you, Michaela.
Thank you again, Ms. Ostrowski, and congratulations again. Mr. LaFurla, that completes our report.
Okay, thank you, and on behalf of all of us up here, congratulations and thank you for all the great work that you do in our schools.
Thank you.
Okay, that was a quick superintendent's report. We are on to the resolutions. And first up is approval of the RU ERV unit. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll motion that we approve the bid from Rasmussen Mechanical in the amount of $169,000 for purchase and installation of an ERV unit for Rue Elementary.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
And any discussion? This is the, I think at the last board meeting, we approved it to go out to bid? Okay.
Is there a reason why there's no other bidding information in the packet that people would see?
We only got one bid.
Okay, that's the reason.
Any other questions? Mr. Wilson, please call the roll.
Mr. Tripp,
Yes.
Mr. Arthur,
Yes.
Mr. Kazire,
Yes.
Ms. Hudak,
Yes.
Ms. Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
And Mr. LaFurla.
Yes, the motion has been approved. Next is a resolution requesting spending authority for excess ELL costs. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I can move the district or the board approve submitting a request to the SBRC for a modified supplemental amount of $652,012.27 and excess costs provided the ELL program in the 21-22 school year, and I'm told these numbers are accurate.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Sure. Mr. Wilson?
This is second time.
Yeah.
So the board voted the last time on this resolution, it was for 400 and some thousand dollars. On the state's website, they're having a lot of systems issues. So after the board passed it, about a day or two later, they pulled it back, because I went to upload our board minutes, and I called and said, what's going on? And they said, oh, it's the numbers we gave you are wrong. So if you want the extra MSA, you're going to have your board re-vote. So that's what we're doing here.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Wilson, please call the roll.
Mr. Arthur.
Yes.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
Ms. Hudak.
Yes.
Ms. Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Tripp.
Yes.
Mr. Kazire.
Yes.
Mr. LaFurla.
Yes. And the request for spending authority has been approved. Next up is a approval of the early notification incentive. Is there a motion?
I move that the board approves the 2022-2023 early notification incentive as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I guess just for the public.
Yeah.
We do this, well, pretty much every year, just as an incentive for folks that are thinking about leaving the district or have already made a decision to leave the district, and give us that early notification so that our HR team can work on filling those positions as soon as possible. Any other discussion? Mr. Wilson, please call the roll.
Ms. Hudak.
Yes.
Ms. Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
Mr. Tripp.
Yes.
Mr. Arthur.
Yes.
Mr. Kazire.
Yes.
Mr. LaFurla.
Yes, motion has been approved. Next is approval of Lexia Core 5 K through 5 literacy support materials. Is there a motion?
Go ahead.
Sorry. I move that the board approves the 3-year subscription renewal for Lexia Core 5 as presented.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
We've been happy with it. Hey, man, maybe talk about what we feel Lexia does for the district.
I'll let Dr. Matthews come up. It really is a literacy skills it just gives us a blended learning program that is adaptive, that our students have that supplemental time. So you can talk a little bit about, because we're also using Lexia in our metrics this year, correct?
Yes, we are. It is one of the approved interventions from the Iowa Department of Education with the Iowa Reading Research Institute. So it is one of the approved resources that we can offer in response to early literacy implementation, which is a requirement. And we do use it to measure our progress toward Diploma Plus One because of the close correlation we see in students who obtain skills in Lexia, matching their growth and proficiency in MAP. So Dr. Shudak has made that correlation for us.
And just to add, I have two girls that are very excited every time they level up. So making learning fun, apparently, this is working. So.
Yes, the students have been talking about leveling up since before we were because they talked about it with Lexia.
That makes sense. Okay, Mr. Wilson, please call the roll.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Ms. Myers?
Yes.
Ms. Shudek?
Yes.
Mr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. Kazire?
Yes.
Mr. LaFurla?
Yes. And finally is approval of the policy review list for the 2022-2023 school year. Is there a motion?
I will move that the board approve the policy review list in the packet. I will not go through all those.
It's a long list.
3 pages long.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item?
See you in January, Diane.
Yeah, I will say that I am very appreciative of Ms. Ostrowski's leadership on this, and I have seen small groups meeting where even Dr. Matthews has come in and met with her and Ms. Emily Warren. So, and I thank you, Ms. Shudak, for serving on that committee for us.
Yeah, thank you for your service. And just for public knowledge, all of the policies are reviewed at least every 5 years, correct? Okay. Okay, Mr. Wilson, please call the roll.
Mr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Ms. Myers?
Yes.
Ms. Shudek?
Yes.
Mr. Kazire?
Yes.
Mr. LaFurla?
Yes. And the policy review list has been approved. Finally is our approval of our consent agenda, which includes acknowledgement of a gift of $1,200 from the Knights of Columbus, Council 11296, for special education needs. Acknowledgement of a gift of $914 from Great Plains to be used for school supplies. School Resource Officer 28E agreement. Dreambox Math Learning Tool, special education. Special education contracts with several outside entities. Personnel action and claims and accounts. Is there a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any items we'd like to discuss?
Do we ever bring in Knights of Columbus? Do they ever come? I've never seen them actually at a meeting, it feels like. I feel like they certainly give routinely, regularly to this. I mean, especially to this issue or this need, but I feel like they're pretty good partners for education.
Great idea.
I don't know how we can, honor them.
invite them to the board meeting and
Well, when-
celebrate them.
When Scott Hansen was on the board, he would
Was right on it.
he would enlighten us about what they were doing, so he might be somebody to reach out to.
It's a good suggestion. Okay, Mr. Wilson, please call the roll.
Ms. Shudek?
Yes.
Mr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. Kazire?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Ms. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. LaFurla?
Yes. And the consent agenda has been approved. That concludes our business. And just so we don't break a time record on the meeting, I thought, we would let the public know we had a work session prior to the board meeting this evening, like we do every board meeting. And tonight was a special one. We started doing this several years ago where the principals all came to visit and presented their school improvement plan. So I'd like to open up to the board on things that you'd like the public to know about this practice and what we've learned from our principals this evening.
Not just that all of our principals care very deeply about their schools, about their students, and about their staff. They have very appreciable goals. They're very attainable, and they're very, in my opinion, high set, but I believe that they can attain them. I mean, we've seen the numbers in the past. They're not looking at 2% increases or 3. They're looking at 10 to 20% increases in proficiencies. They care about the students' safe places, how they feel at school, and just getting everybody to be cohesive. So I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, and branching off of that, it was really nice to see when Dr. Morello pointed out what schools have not only succeeded their goals, but they have excelled in them. So that was a really nice moment to congratulate those principals, but also the staff and the students, and also families supporting their students as well. So that was really nice to hear about.
Yeah, I would say I think the thing the public probably doesn't always see, you see things when we make mistakes, right? You see things when kids get out of hand or things like that. And you don't always see the time and the effort and the dedication spent by our professionals trying to improve the lives of students everywhere, students in our community. And I wish people could understand kind of what goes into our professional learning communities and in our school coaching, and how intensive and focused it is at what we do every day to try to drive, big changes here for our students in our community.
Anything else? Well, I think I'd just like to kind of recap what Jared said, because that was kind of the message that I wanted to get across to everybody. Is we just have a large group of exceptional leaders who are really dedicated educational professionals, really passionate about honing their craft, and maybe more importantly than that, also just very good, kind, caring people who are really dedicated to ensuring that our students have a great experience at school. So very proud of all of them, very grateful to Dr. Merlot and your team for allowing us to participate in that exercise. We learn a lot through all of that, and it's actually kind of intimidating for board members, to dive into the education lingo with people who are such knowledgeable professionals. But we learn a lot, and I think what we take away from it is that there's really dedicated, caring people looking after our kids every day. So thankful for all of you, and grateful for Dr. Merlot and your team for allowing us to do that. That concludes our business. We're adjourned.